and just tell us, what you're doing, what you want, what it is that you're trying to help collaborate to bring to the table. And so we're going to start right here.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kenyatta Dotson. I'm a lifelong resident of Flint. I'm a member of Church Without Walls Ministries, and I'm here because we can't carry the load by ourselves. Somebody puts out a call to action for us to not only have a conversation about what's going on, but to apply solutions and resources. Then, of course, I want to be in the room.
Hello, everybody. I'm Yolanda White. I'm the Housing Outreach Advocate for the YWCA of Greater Flint, and I am here to hopefully give resources for placement for the students.
I'm Jake Bennett. I'm the Congresswoman Christy McDonald-Rivas District Director, and I'm pissed. And that's why I'm here right now. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Daryl Muhammad. I was invited out by Brother Jalil, and I'm a member of the Peacekeepers, active in the community.
Good evening. I'm Jalil X, Director of the Peacekeepers Global Initiative and a minister in the Nation of Islam. And I came and after speaking with Pastor Lakes because I have the ability to offer something in the form of housing and even in dealing with continued training in skilled trades.
Good afternoon. My name is Tarnisa Martin. I'm the Patient Resource and Community Advocate for Hurley Medical Center. I serve as a community liaison to bridge the gap between the hospital and the community. I'm here to possibly see how can we get help with job placement on behalf of our HR department.
Hello, I am Georgiana Logan. I am a longtime Flint, Michigan native. I am currently a professor at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia, and so I'm here to support Charles Jones and see what kind of out-of-state resources that may be able to help in this situation.
Hello, my name is Jacinta Logan. I'm also a lifelong native Flint. I am a medical case manager at a place called Sunshine Family Cares. I connect my clients to resources, so I'm just trying to bring whatever resources that I can bring here and support my partner, Charles Jones.
Good afternoon. I'm Darcel Robinson. I'm one of the therapists here in Genesee County. I was born and raised here, and whatever I can do, I want to be assistance.
Yeah, my name is Kenneth Robinson, and I'm Deacon Robinson in St. Mark Missionary Baptist Church, and I do Donation with Love. I go out and help the children out in the community and everything.
Hi everyone, my name is Ebony. I am a mental health professional by trade, but I am also part of the leadership team at Cornerstone Community Church in Flushing, and we are simply in a room to see whatever ideas come up. Do we have the resource? Do we have part of the resource? Do we have a connection to the resource that we could possibly offer?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jishelle Mitchell-Cross. I am the Development Officer at the Community Foundation of Greater Flint, but I am also a community member through Park Adoption and resources for youth through education, sports, and at Iroquois Park.
I'm Veronica Latham. I'm retired from Genesee County. Used to be program director of Work First. I know what we're up against, and I came to see what we can do.
Hi, my name is Karma Lewis, City of Flint resident. I'm community relations for the Genesee County Land Bank, and I'm here because Jalil told me to be here. I'm just here to be supported.
Oh, that was quick. I just walked in, but my name is Miss Atkinson. I have been with Flint Genesee Job Corps Center for 17 years, and I am a Job Corps grad. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lakeisha. I'm an intake specialist from Carriagetown Ministries, and I'm just here to see where we can help and see if we can provide anything for the babies. I have not slept since I heard about it. I haven't slept good because I'm worried about those babies.
Hi, I'm Brittany Harris, and I am a men's case manager / mentor at Carriagetown Ministries. We are here to provide support, get some information so that we can bring it back to Carriagetown and see how we can make an impact.
My name is Kendria Hill. I'm a CNA at Duran Rehab and Care Center. If any of the kids that's 18 and up need CNA jobs, we are hiring now. And I know my workforce, because I did it, the programs, they will help pay for it, like EKG technicians, papillotomy, other programs that they're seeking, they will pay for it, everything. And they have resources like paying with first month's rent, utilities, and all that good stuff too.
Hi, I'm Kevin Thompson. I serve as the pastor of St. Mark Baptist Church of Flint, also task force leader of St. Mark Community Outreach Center, and board member of the United Way of Flint, Michigan. I'm here to support in whatever way that I can support, and I thank God that it is good for us all to be here today. There's a lot of resources in the house. God bless you all. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Michelle Edwards, and I used to work for Genesee Job Corps, and I'm just basically here to see how it is that I can assist and support as well. Thank you.
In case anyone didn't know, my name is Shalisha Skelton. I'm a senior level eligibility specialist with the Department of Health and Human Services. So if any of the youngsters are in need of applying for their food, Medicaid benefits, I will be able to assist with applications as well.
So I want each person from Job Corps just to introduce who you are and then tell us what you do there, because y'all going to help to bring clarity to us to let us know what's going on so we can better assist.
Well, nice meeting you. Glad y'all came out. My name is Felicia Feemster. I serve in the position of the student records supervisor, so I'm responsible for all of the student records, transportation, getting these young people home, and I will be the one responsible, unfortunately, for separating all of these students up out of our program.
Hello, everyone. My name is Monquetta Holt, and I am a instructor. I'm one of the Office Administration instructor for the students. And it was very sad to see that they couldn't complete the trade due to this outcome.
Good afternoon, everyone, again, and just thank you so much for coming and supporting us. I'm Chandra Vickers Clements. I am currently the Human Resources Manager for Flint Genesee Job Corps Center. I've been with Job Corps for 15 years, and I've had the ability to work at all 3 centers in the state of Michigan, Flint, Detroit, and Grand Rapids.
My name is Charles Jones. I'm the disability coordinator over at Flint Genesee Job Corps. I deal with the students that have the mental and physical and cognitive disabilities.
Yes, do we have, okay, we have somebody that is recording. Are we recording? I told them to record, so we'll have information. Okay, all right, so we are recording. Also, we have another person that is joined in with us right there.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Delrico Lloyd, and I am not just the county commissioner for the district in which Job Corps sits in, but I'm also the chairman of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners.
All right, so
Hi, I'm Matt Franklin, formerly from ABC 12. I'm sure you guys remember me, but I'm now also the representative for U.S. Alyssa Slotkin. So I'm glad to join you all today.
Okay? And so we appreciate everybody that is here. Okay. All right, we back on. Hopefully as we take notes and different people, so we'll collaborate together. I'll make sure that we get some paper and some pens. I see some others that are taking notes. And so we'll get a chance that after we do this, we'll talk about a few things. First of all, when it comes down to the housing portion of it for the students that do not have anywhere to go, so we can make sure that we connect with the people for their housing. And then when you talk about not only that, but the job placement, not only for the students, but also for the staff that will be displaced. So we got to cover a few areas. So I want to give them an opportunity to bring us up to speed. I know we've seen some things on social media. We've heard some things. And so because they're there, I think they can help bring better clarity so that we won't have a lot of hearsay about what's going on, but we'll know straight from the people that are there. So any of you guys that would like to, we're going to turn it over to y'all so y'all can give us some clarity.
Thank you very much for having this forum for us. It's very, very critical and important. And I just want to say about the tears that the students cried on Friday. They did not know what to do, where to go. They were all in disbelief. They were angry and they were upset. You kept hearing the students say, I wanted to finish my GED. I wanted to finish my high school. I wanted to finish my trade. I'm only 60%. And that's all I had to do that was left before I could finish my trade. I was looking to graduate or finish the trade in September. But to bring the students here and to actually hear them and hear what they were saying, they want to change their lives. They were looking forward to a better life. They were looking to go home and go to work and to give back to this community and the society. So these children, these students, young men and women, just to see them and just see the hope that was just taken from them. And it was extremely devastating. I've been teaching at Flint Genesee Job Corps for about 17 years. I'm a Job Corps grad in Excelsior Springs, Missouri. I teach the Medical Administrative Assistant program. I taught the hotel hospitality retail sales, and then I was also in outreach and admission. But I so sincerely thank you from the bottom of our hearts for you letting us have this forum and for it's affecting this country really bad. It's affecting all of us. And all 99 centers in the United States have been put on pause. Thank you.
Well, I can agree with Ms. Atkinson. It was quite devastating to learn within a day we had to get majority of our students off center. And then some areas were tasked with getting them some of their documents that they needed. It wasn't a lot of time to get them those things like their high school diplomas, their trade certifications, if some of them needed their Social Security cards, driving license. And so what they failed to realize, a lot of our students had already went home for the weekend. So a lot of our students were just doing the normal process they were used to on Friday, going home for the weekend with the expectation to return on Monday, and not knowing that they were going to get a call from their counselor that they are not to return to the center. And so it's devastating. I've been there 18 years, and just to witness something like that, because what we fail to understand, sometimes Job Corps has been some young people's only chance. It has been their second chance. A lot of them don't have any homes to go home to, and I think some people take that for granted when this decision was made. Whoever made the decision, sometimes they don't come on center to see the students that we serve. Because a lot of students, one student told me before he leave, he said, I really don't have a home. I go to my brother's house, I go to my sister's house. He said, but a lot of students ain't gonna tell you they don't have nowhere to live because they want you to think they got it all together. But when we sent these students home, we found out, no, they don't have it together. They don't have nowhere to go. So we appreciate y'all coming, and whatever services you can offer to these young people, I know they will be so excited and they will feel like, yes, somebody still cares about my future.
Thank you. It's really good to see the community come together with this. We have a lot of students that we have a work-based learning that students have an opportunity to get a job. And there's this one student that has a good job with a cardiologist place. It's hard for her because she won't be able to have transportation for that job. And that's a great job for this young lady. And we're going to try to figure out how we can continue for her to keep going to that location. So it's a lot. And I've been working for Job Corps for about 18 years, the same as many of us up here. And it seemed like a movie. Because I know the Department of Labor, they do a lot of changes, but this right here like shook me. And I was very emotional to see these young people not knowing what to do. So I really appreciate this, and hopefully we all can come together and figure out something for our students. Thank you.
I want to take a second. We have another person that walked in, Mr. Dante Dumas, who is a student from Job Corps when I was there. So I want to give him an opportunity to talk, because sometimes people don't know, just to talk about some of the things personally and then how it helped to transpire him to be the man that he is today. He was also one of the SGAs. He also traveled. He was one of the Job Corps students, which, quote unquote, we call it the model student. But I was his RA because I worked at Job Corps for about 8 years myself personally. And so a lot of those children, even when you talk about the family unit, that a lot of them that didn't have family built family from Job Corps. So you talk about your input brothers and sisters or people that came in with you. So when you don't have a family, a lot of them built families. So some of them, this is their auntie or certain staff members that would always be able to help those students. Also during that time, when I was there at Job Corps, I can talk about it now because I don't work there any longer, but some of those kids that during the holidays did not have anywhere to go. And so when students would be gone for weeks, they would be on center by themselves. And we was not supposed to feed them and make sure that they ate, but I kind of violated that a little bit because I did not like to see a person sitting in their room on a holiday with no food by themselves. And so we would always prepare more food and we would always have extra people at our table. And so I want Brother Dumas to come and speak on behalf of the students and how it worked well for them to see the need of why Job Corps should be in existence.
Good evening. I wasn't expecting Pop to put me on blast and have me say a few words. As he stated, yeah, I'm a Job Corps alumni. Went to Job Corps March 8th, 2005. Left there 2 years later, went to advanced training in Massachusetts. So totally I did 3 years. And then from there, worked for Job Corps for the last, I want to say I did 12 years, I believe. Was blessed to be able to work at the Flint Center twice, Detroit Center, Indiana, Miami, and Denton, which is in Texas. It is devastating because for someone like me, my grandmother raised me. My mother kind of gave me up when I was 7. I will say she made the right decision to give me to my grandmother. But I lacked structure. And so Job Corps was able to provide that. I was rough around the edges. Don't let him tell you I was just this model student. 3 of them up here I already know that I really wasn't. But I grew into what I was supposed to become, and if it wasn't for Job Corps, that would have never happened. So we were at the barbershop talking about it, and it just kind of breaks my heart because it makes me think about, well, what if at that time, when I went into Job Corps, what if that would have happened to me? what would my life look like? Where would I be today? And so it's really, really tragic that these young people have to find another outlet to establish them. As they said up here, you know, Job Corps was more than just a place where you can get your high school diploma or GED or a trade that would set you up for life. It was also a home for some of us. It was also a place of structure. It was a place where we developed great relationships that, you know, for me, I was blessed to still have to this day. And so for them to just wake up one day and have to be told, hey, it's time for you to go, it's really hard, because now, you know, you're forcing young people now to try to survive, and they don't know what that look like. And so for some people, they're going to go back to an area where they was fleeing from, they was running to get away from. And so now you're placing them back in the area where I was trying to get away from. So what happens to them? And so I really think about those that are 16 and 17, because where do they go? Travis Place is full. And then you have to be a certain age to get into a shelter. So where do they go? Where do the 16 and 17-year-olds go? And so it's just a lot. Then you think about the single parents, you know, the women that have their children on campus, where do they go? There's only two, I really don't like the word shelter. There's only two transitional facilities, Shelter of Flint and Carriagetown Ministries. And so if Carriagetown is full, if they have done all the resources or used all the resources that they could use, and then Shelter of Flint is the same way, where do they go? And so it's just really unfortunate, because whoever made this decision, as she stated, is not thinking about the livelihood, not only them, but the staff. To have two that's been here 3, been here 18 something years, that's a lot. Like, that's longevity, to have a heart to deal with people every day, because Job Corps, you would get new inputs every Tuesday. So to constantly deal with people, and if they were some like me, kind of hard-headed, and, you know, it takes a lot, you know, to have that empathy, but also the courage to still come in the next day and say, you know what, I see something in you, so I'm going to push you. No matter how much you push me away, I'm going to still push you, because I see something great in you. And so it's really unfortunate. My heart goes out. I've been praying nonstop that something happens, something shakes. You know, believing that God, even though it doesn't make sense, God yet still is in control and can make a way out of no way. So we just need him to make a way out of no way, right, for these young people. And not only for them, but for the staff, because you have people that's been working 18, 15, some odd years, and now what's for them? So.
So I am Nataki Purdue. I am the Career Development Director at the Flint Genesee Center. That means that I am in charge of, at my center, all of the outreach and admissions, which is the recruitment. I'm in charge of their academic learning, their vocational learning. I'm also in charge of counselors, their career preparation period, which is where they decide what they're going to do, and then their job placement afterwards. I have been in Job Corps going on 18 years, it feels like. Sound about right? 2008, something like that. Started in Job Corps as a scheduling clerk and just kind of matriculated through Job Corps into various positions over the years. I spent about 12 years working on the corporate level, so I'm very familiar with Job Corps proposals and Job Corps contracts and things like that. To say that what has occurred is devastating is, I believe, an understatement. To say that the outpouring from the community has been heartwarming is equally an understatement. At Job Corps, we're frequently looking for partners to help with different things that the students may need, and sometimes finding those people are a challenge. But when Job Corps was in crisis, the way the community has shown up is something to be commended. I will say that we still have several students that don't have housing or that have left the center already thinking that they had housing and don't. I got a call this morning from a young man who went to Saginaw who said, I can't stay here, Miss Purdue. I gotta find somewhere else to go. It's a Sunday. What I'm gonna do for that baby? The parent said, look, he's not a bad kid, but my financial situation, my living situation as of right now doesn't allow me to be able to have him here. I lost my job 2 months ago. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm gonna feed me and the kid that's already here. The news interviewed a student that was leaving the Detroit Center, right? And a lot of people want to say, well, where are their parents at? Where are their family at, right? So the reporter asked the young man, well, where are your parents? The young man said, one of them is in jail and the other one is dead. So what happens with that young man? I would never sit in front of anyone and say that the Job Corps program does not need revisions. I'll never say that, because it does, right? 60 years ago when Job Corps started, to say that you could leave high school at 16 and go get a job, making good money, able to feed a family, that was legit. That was true. You could get married at 14, so having a family at 16 was like, okay, that's what everybody do. That's not today's world, right? So now we have 16, 17-year-olds that, like Mr. Dumas said, where they going? You know what Job Corps told us to do? If their parents don't show up to pick them up, call CPS. Because they can't stay there. If they're an adult and they don't have anywhere to go, drop them off at a shelter, because they can't stay there. What the notice says, Department of Labor's press release says, is that, one, this is Joe Biden's administration making this change, right? Now, before everybody shake their heads, let me say this. It is possible. It is possible. However, I want you to consider this. If what Department of Labor is saying is that the Job Corps program is in a $140 million deficit, right? That's what the news release says. So if you want to look it up, I got the link, I'll share it with you. So the news release says that there's a $140 million deficit in the Job Corps program, right? Now, is it possible that the Biden administration said, hey, if we don't fix this deficit by the end of the program year, which for us will be June 30th, right? So if we don't fix this deficit by the end of the program year, we're going to have to like pause services so we can make this deficit up. If that is what they said before Joe Biden left office, that means that the people at the Department of Labor knew well in advance that this is what they were going to do, right? If the Biden administration are the ones who orchestrated this. But it was poor execution on the part of everyone at the Department of Labor that did not notify the operators, that did not notify the centers, so the staff and the students and the operators are taken completely off guard because no one shared that information. Now, it is also likely that the Trump administration's staff have said, or his budget rather, calls for the complete and total elimination of the Job Corps program for his budget of 2026. So let's go do some budget 101. Y'all ready? Okay, so here we go. The Job Corps centers operate on what's called a program year. That means we operate from July 1st to June 30th. That also means that we don't operate on a fiscal year like other government programs and government agencies, which starts October 1. Y'all with me? Stop me if y'all stop following, okay? Because I want to make sure everybody with me. That means that the budget for our current program year, which for us is program year 24, was done in 23, right? The budget for the upcoming program year, which would start July 1, was already approved in 24. So that means that even if the Trump administration is successful in eliminating the Job Corps program with his 2026 budget, that would not occur until
27.
There you go. All right. So now let's do Bean Counter 101. Y'all ready? Y'all should have never gave me the microphone. In Jesus' name.
Come on.
All right. So Bean Counter 101. If you are the person responsible for seeking funding for the Job Corps, well, let's back up. So let me tell you how contracts run. Every Job Corps center runs on a 5-year contract, right? They have 2 guaranteed base years and 3 option years. That means that after your first 2 years, the government can come in and say, okay, well, I'm going to give you this option year for your 3rd year, or I don't like the way you've been running this center, so I'm going to take this contract from you and give it to somebody else, okay? When you go into a Job Corps contract, you have to write what's called a business management proposal. Your business management proposal will say that it's going to cost me X amount of dollars to run it on year 1. It's going to cost me X amount of dollars to run it on year 2. It's going to cost me X amount of dollars to run it on year 3, so on and so forth, right? If you are including in your business management proposal that there's going to be inflation for salaries, right? So I'm going to give people a raise in year 2, so I need to put that in there. Food costs are going to go up, I need to put that in there, right? If every year when you go and request additional funds to run the Job Corps program, and you are not taking into consideration that your contract says that you get to give raises, yours doesn't, which is possible, it has happened. But I'm not going to increase the funding for that next year, even though I know that it's going to cost more based on the contracts that I have already approved. So Job Corps funding hasn't increased. So when they say, oh my God, they have this $140 million deficit, yeah, because you knew it was going to cost $140 million more, but you didn't give the money for that. Because Congress would not approve an increase for Job Corps funding. Everybody's groceries went up. Food at Job Corps centers went up too. Everybody's light bill went up. So did the light bill at these Job Corps centers, right? And there you go. So when you talk about salaries, so all the stuff that went up, but your salary didn't stay like this. So now let's talk about how information matriculates, right? Rumblings started a couple months ago about Job Corps ending June 30th. Most people who heard those rumblings thought that it must be fake because they must be confusing the end of the program year with the end of Job Corps, right? Some people thought that when they heard, what's the date? That's Flint's contract ends, August, right? August 31st. So some people thought when they hear August 31st, that must mean, oh, that's just the end of this center's contract, but not the end of Job Corps as a whole. But Channel 5 put in a news report that they talked to somebody and they told them August 31st. Well, they ain't told us August 31st. We got a text message yesterday that said there's been an extension, so now you don't have to have all the students off campus by June 6th. Now it's June 13th. But that's just a text message that we got. We haven't gotten anything official from the Department of Labor, right? All right, so now let's back up to the significant incident reports. So if you look at the transparency report, y'all want to take the mic back yet?
No, you good.
Okay, so.
You educating us. Go ahead.
All right. So if you look at the transparency report says there's, somebody get a calculator out because I want y'all to do the math. Y'all ready? So the transparency report says that there's roughly about 1,800 incidents in program year 23, right, which would be July of 23 to June of 24. So there was 1,800 incidents of hospitalizations, right? So 1,800. So let's say we're going to do 1,800, and we're only going to focus on the 99 centers that they are shutting down, right? So how many incidents per center is that? Anybody? How many? I'm sorry, 18, right? So we got 18, 19 centers. So if we got 19, because we're going to always round up, right? So we got 19 incidents per center of young people that have gone to the hospital. That don't sound like a whole lot of, because keep in mind, we're a 365 days a year program. 19 per center. And some of these centers aren't like Flint, Genesee, where our max is 307 of students. Some of these centers are thousands of kids, hundreds of kids, like 500 kids. So one of our colleagues that transferred to Texas, it's 300 and some kids on his center right now that they gotta find somewhere to be. But they supposed to have how much? Exactly. Over 600 kids, right? Now, I'm gonna be completely transparent. Out of that 1,800 people, guess who's in that number? Me. You know why I'm in that number? Because I fell down the stairs at work. I'm in that number, right? There are 1,700 incidents of, is it violence? Let me look. So it's about 1,700 incidents of violence. Well, Department of Labor put a policy in 1764, my girl, 1764 incidents of violence, right? So we're still under 20 per center incidents of violence. Department of Labor has a zero tolerance policy now that says that if I get upset with you and I say, I'm so sick of you, Janara Lakes, I'm gonna punch you in the face. That is called a threat of assault. It is a level 1 zero tolerance. You are terminated, and a significant incident report must be done because of it. That don't mean anybody got hurt. That means I got mad. So they are expecting us to receive fully formed humans that know how to be in control of their emotions at all times. And if we don't receive fully formed humans that know how to be in control of their emotions at all times, that is now a significant incident that has to be reported, right? There were 374 or 72. You might as well hold that in your hand. 372 incidents of inappropriate sexual contact or sexual assault, right? Out of 99 Job Corps centers in 365 days, you got 374 incidents of that, right? Included in that number is, keep in mind, we service 16 to 24-year-olds, right? You found a 23-year-old girl in her 24-year-old boyfriend's dorm room. That is inappropriate sexual contact. That is in that number. If I get mad at my boyfriend or girlfriend and he come and smack me on my butt, but I'm mad at him, and I go and I tell my RA that my boyfriend sexually assaulted me because I'm mad today, that is in that number. Give me another number, Chan. $2,700 and what? 2,702 reports of drug use. Well, so to come into the Job Corps program, one of the very first things we do on day 2. So if you get there on Monday, we drug test you on Tuesday. You get there on Tuesday, we drug test you on Wednesday, right? State of Michigan and a lot of other states, marijuana is legal. However, Job Corps said you're a federal facility and therefore it is not legal. So we drug test students. It used to be, back then, when this report was done, if you tested positive on entry, right, and then you tested again at between day 37 and day 40, right, you test again, you are then terminated from the program, but your positive drug test goes into that result. Well, I was doing marijuana before I got here, so it's not like I came here and was still smoking marijuana. The last year and a half, maybe 2 years, they changed it to where now they are testing, they're checking for your THC levels. No, I'm talking about when switching from positive and negative to whether or not your levels dropped. Yeah, but when did they make that change? Was it a year and a half ago or 2 years? Oh, okay, well, there you go. Boom, 6 months to a year. So now they've gone to allowing for you to stay in the program as long as the THC levels have dropped by 50% or greater, right? Because for them, that shows that, yes, you came into the program and you were doing drugs, but you haven't been doing drugs. Well, let me tell you this. Where are my bigger people at? If you can't, Stacy, can I use you? All right. So we're going to use Stacy, y'all. That's my nephew. Hey, nephew. So we're going to use Stacy. So let's say Stacy came into the program and Stacy tested positive for marijuana. Well, Stacy's a pretty big guy. So no matter how much water he drink, no matter how much green tea he drink, no matter how much exercising he do, Stacy's levels may not be below 50%, right? Whether he's been smoking or not. But he's still going to test positive, which means he's going to go into that number, and we have to terminate him from the program, right? Because we've had to do that at Flint, Genesee. Devastated young lady, boo-hoo crying because she knows she ain't been smoking. But because of her size, her levels didn't go down enough, right? So when people tell you that there are criminals in the Job Corps program, that's not true. You can't even come to the Job Corps program with a criminal record. You can't be in Job Corps and be on teller. That's not a thing, right? When you can't have any pending court action whatsoever. If we run your background check and it says that whatever it wasn't closed out, we can't enroll you until you show documented proof that that has been closed out. Give me another number. Which one didn't I cover? Because we doing math. Ma'am? Oh. We were #1 for 4 months. #1 Job Corps center in the country for 4 months. We're what? Number 10 now? 9 or 10, somewhere in there. I should know this answer, y'all. It's literally my job to know this answer. My bad.
I want to ask a quick question.
Yes, sir.
When they determined what centers would be cut, what was their determining factor to which ones they kept and which ones they...
That is a good question. So, every Job Corps center is independently operated by a third party. They are funded by the Department of Labor, but they are ran by individual companies, right? YMCA runs Job Corps centers. There's, literally several companies that operate Job Corps centers. However, corporations, yes ma'am. However, large business and small business, right? The centers that were closed were contractor operated Job Corps centers only. 99 of them, right? So when you read reports and they say, oh, well, it was 5, only 5 centers across the country, that's lies and garbage. right? 99 centers. There are 24 centers that did not get touched. Those 24 centers are operated by the Forest Service. They are ran by the United States Department of Agriculture. They are considered conservation centers. Those are the only centers that have not been touched. The staff on those centers are federal employees, not contractors.
So some of those centers, for instance, may assist with keeping the canals across the country open, things like that, forestry, keeping those things maintained, just to add on. Go ahead, there's a question right here. Go ahead, sir. So we probably are talking about in places like the Dakotas, Kentucky, more rural type, possibly.
Yes, ma'am.
So at one point in time, COVID, as you all know, in many ways affected a lot of things. So Flint historically has had the Child Development Center in the dorm for young ladies or men, if they qualify, with their child. And usually they could have up to 2 children. We used to do 2 children up to the age of 5. However, when COVID hit in 2020 and we had to send our students home in March of 2020, many of them did not get a chance to come back. Fast forward to 2021 when students start coming back on center slowly but surely. We never got approval to bring back students that had children. So the Child Development Center, we still have not at this point in time. The Child Development Center now has been down more than 5 years. We've tried to partner with different entities. I think since I've been back to the center in 2023, we were in talks with Mott Community College for quite some time, and that just kind of fell by the wayside. And so just recently, before the beginning of 2025, worked with the center director, or the campus director, on making transitions for all those roles that were in the Child Development Center, and we updated our org chart and received approval from Department of Labor, and also our contractor, which is Serato Corporation. And so we repurposed about 10 positions. And so we, created other positions throughout the campus to assist. So we don't even have, at this point in time, child development staffing on our center.
But it's a question that is, I left church to be here. I walked out with a young man in his first message because my heart is really hurting because you're 18 and 19 years old. I had a job. You understand what I'm saying? But at 16 and 17, these are children.
Yes.
So what are we going to do, Flint? We can have all the meetings in the world, but there's no one here to help you or to step up and say, let's at least keep the campus. Because I asked one of the higher-ups today who owns the property. And I
Understand that the property is owned by Flint and Genesee County. Am I correct or wrong?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay.
And so it is a leased building or leased campus. I think most of us thought up until maybe some time ago that DOL, owned it. But nope, it is, but not the land.
Okay, so who is DOL?
Department of Labor.
Okay, so that's where the conflict is. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so they're wanting you out of their facility.
Yes, all
But
99
they can't
centers.
put you off the land, right?
All 99 facilities, we have to be vacated, and the keys have to be turned in on June 30th.
Okay, I go back.
I want to
The
answer one of
children
your other
16 and
questions.
17.
Yep. So let's be clear about the children or the young people that are 16, 17 years old. We probably don't have many that have come in without an address or without some sort of adoptive parent or grandparent or something to that effect, okay? It's more of with the 16 and 17-year-olds, in some cases, and the students that we were comforting on Friday, in terms of them maybe not wanting to go back to their environment because maybe they're being violated in some shape or form in that environment. That would be more of the piece with the 16, 17-year-olds. And our campus has been, for years, a safe haven and secure for our youth, okay?
Shortly we're gonna take a turn quickly, only because at some point I want them to discuss with us the current need, and then we can come together to see how we can meet the need. And so if it's students that they're dealing with, like she said, for some of them that are going back home to a bad environment. I remember working at Job Corps, and they can probably help me with the number of students who probably went home on a weekend that died and never made it back to the Job Corps because they went back home to those environments that they were trying to escape from, and then we get wind that they had been killed.
Oh, I thought Billy wanted to say something.
I'm sorry. We have had, unfortunately, several students that have passed away in our program. And it's so difficult because they give you 10 days to gather the death certificate, and you got to send all this to the Department of Labor. They went to home with other people. That's the biggest thing, because like I said, the student said, most of us don't have nowhere to go, so we partner, we become family with other people on center. And sometimes, because me and you friends, when I get to your house, your parents don't know nothing about me. And so one young man, he was swimming with his girlfriend family, and it was like the little boy that cried wolf. He kept acting like he was drowning, and her daddy kept running out there and getting him. But when he really needed rescue, they didn't run out there and get him. So it's been some unfortunate situations that we send our kids into, and sometimes they don't feel comfortable talking to certain adults on Job Corps centers. That's everywhere, because some people are unapproachable. But when they find staff that they comfortable with, they cling to them like it's their parents, it's their aunties. And it was just the outpouring of tears we seen from them young people because they didn't have nowhere to go. And they knew our hands was tied because of fraternization policies. So y'all are our lifelines to help these young people get housing, to help these young people get jobs. But as far as us, they put us in a box of how much contact we can have with these young people.
Yes. Come on up here.
First, I want to say thank you to Job Corps. My son is 34 now, but had it not been for Job Corps, I don't even know where he would be right now. So thanks to Job Corps, he was able to get a diploma. He was able to finish school. He felt like he was somebody. Finally, he walked in those shoes, and then he's been okay ever since. So thank you. I don't know that everybody knows, but oftentimes young people come from outside of Flint, outside of Michigan, to come to the Job Corps centers. And a lot of times those who are interested in Job Corps Flint will send them to other places because of the things that they're going through, because of their environment, because of their surroundings, because of gang affiliation, because they are being abused and neglected, you know, when they're in their home environment. And so, and one thing that I heard is that one of the expenses that they say that they don't approve of is the travel expense. But I mean, but the travel expense, you need to bring kids from, you need to extract them from certain areas so that they can have a fresh start, so that they can truly feel like, you know, maybe I'm not going to die before I'm 17 or 18. So I just wanted to see if maybe you can expound on that just a bit, about the importance of those coming from outside areas or those from here going to other areas so that they can feel safe and they can truly have a fresh start. And is that truly like a big part of the budget?
I'm gonna say this. Recently, we just started. How long Mr. Luce been gone?
Since October, end of October.
End of October, we had a staff that would go pick the students up from their locations, from their houses, because we didn't have approved travel yet. To buy a ticket for a student to come from Detroit is only $18. And they send a report maybe like every 2 months for you to reconcile your travel. The only time we send students is out of town or out of state. I had a student that was supposed to leave on the 3rd, and she was going to an advanced training. Advanced training is an extension of Job Corps to continue their training, and we pay for that travel. But they not stopping. They're just going further into the program of a trade that's going to get more advanced and more certifications in. So travel is never, at Flint, Genesee, travel was never an issue. Travel was not putting them in debt, no way at all, because we wasn't doing that much travel.
What I will say about travel is, as it relates to students that need to go somewhere. So we have one student currently on our center who could not find anyone in the state that would allow him to stay with them. But he had a guy that he was roommates with previously, but this guy is now in South Carolina. He was like, hey man, I ain't got a lot, but you can come down here to South Carolina. Mrs. Feemster cannot get that young man a ticket to South Carolina because that is not his home address. There's certain documentation that she would need in order to change his address because we are required to send them back to their home of record. Well, he can't go there. He can go to South Carolina. In order for her to change his address, she has to have proof that that's his new address. Like he gotta have some mail, a bill. How? I don't live there yet, right? So when I say that the outpouring from the community has been overwhelming, I spoke to Dr. Bailey on yesterday, and she said, well, what do you guys need? I said, well, you know, Dr. Bailey, I was like, it's so many moving parts right now, and it's so much that we still don't know that I honestly can't even tell you what it is that we are in need of right now. But what I can tell you is that I know I got this one kid, and I can't figure out how to get him to South Carolina, because that's the only place where someone said that he can come and live with them. And Dr. Bailey said, done. What's next? Right? There are several students that can go somewhere, but not their home of record. So we're not supposed to take them there. If you from Flint, but you can't go back to that house, and your uncle said you can come to the house in Detroit, but that's not your home of record, we can't take you to Detroit. All vehicles on a Job Corps Center are government vehicles, right? They're paid for by the government, GSA vehicles, right? So just like the vehicles you see the military recruiters walking or driving around that has like the G in front of their little license plates, all of our vehicles are just like that. Each vehicle comes with its own gas card and all that good stuff. Centers are being told to collect the gas cards. But wait a minute, y'all told us to get the kids home. How we collecting gas cards? What we putting in these vehicles? Air? And they're not electric, right? So things that we are currently in need of. Housing, safe, secure housing for students that are still in need of housing. Some students have housing but don't have food. right? So I can go to my grandma's house, but my grandma's on a fixed income. She barely got enough food for her, so I know she don't have enough food for us. Those are our two biggest needs as of now. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Thank you. And again, I want to applaud, compliment everybody that's done what you could for the Job Corps. I'm so hurt because my son is a prodigy of Job Corps. He went in New Orleans down there with his father. When I heard this, it just kind of did something to me. And I've been down in Detroit talking to a lot of people, and I'm hurt about this because this was just something that just didn't happen. Wasn't this something that had been in the making, and maybe somebody had to know something about this?
I would like to say
because
no,
we got
but
our babies, so nobody knew nothing about what was going on.
no, the operators and the centers didn't know.
So,
But I believe
the director didn't know either.
not. Yeah.
Because I was told there were emails sent,
And-
emails back and forth.
And this occurred, I want to
When there
say,
emails? Oh, there were no emails.
What I want to make sure that everybody knows, honestly, is in December, right, we started getting almost once a month, right, starting in December, where maybe we had to consolidate departments.
Okay, all right.
Right? Based on the number of students, right? Because again, what we know for certain is when COVID hit, the numbers at all Job Corps centers suffered,
Right.
right? And so that's why we're looking at this data, right, that has come out. And this was the worst possible time, honestly, that they could have followed the data that closely, knowing that all of the centers were suffering what we call on-board strength. Each contracted center has a contracted number of students for that center. Flint, Genesee number is 307. We are actually the biggest out of the 3 centers in the state, all right? However, we haven't been able to maintain or get to 307 since COVID. It's been a struggle because there are so many other programs that are out there. And as Mrs. Perdue Nataki stated earlier, Job Corps is 61 years old. We finally saw some revamping during COVID to adopt and adapt to utilizing the technologies that are out there. Every student received a Chromebook. And most of our programming outside of the technical trades and the instructors, mostly everything in terms of the high school and GED are electronic. So we do need to have some revamp in terms of the programming, because what we know for sure is our young people are bored. They're bored in a lot of ways, even though we have a lot of those individuals that are hands-on learners, right? But being at the facility, I see you, sweetheart, being at the facility for 8 hours a day is tasking on them, especially when you have all these other programs where I just got to go once a week and meet with somebody for maybe an hour about my current programming. But we have a huge listing of accountability things that we use at Job Corps because it is trying to prepare them for independent living. But it's a lot of pushback on that level, but we don't get an opportunity, to be honest with you, as much talent as you see up here on the platform of my staff. We really haven't had a voice to places like the regional office, the national office, to say what students really need in these times when it comes to learning. Absolutely.
all them political people, all them people election. This should have been the main focus, and we wouldn't have had to deal with this with our babies.
Understood.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
you do a lot of wonderful things. I watch you. But you also had a lot of important people, or people so-called was supposed to be for the city. And this is hitting us hard because it's in the black community, and I'm upset about it because of the simple fact they had our babies on the news. That is embarrassing. That is hurtful. And then the news is not even here, but they were there to embarrass our babies, and nobody is saying nothing about that. We don't have no political leaders. If this was something, you should have tapped in the bud while all the political people was down there like they doing something, running for election, what they do. And I love you, and I'm not trying to discredit you, black sister, because I follow you. But this was something you should have tapped in the bud while they were down there, because you knew this was coming. In the emails was coming.
No, we don't get, we didn't get that information in that way.
But you already knew that you were supposed to have 300 and you had 141.
She did.
I did not.
When you supposed to have 300,
She did.
We have to recruit those. We have to recruit.
They didn't.
So let me clear some things up. Let's clear some things up. Let's clear some things up. So when Ms. Clements stated that we were still feeling the impacts of COVID, right? We are supposed to be at 307. We struggle getting to 307. We struggle getting to 307 because when Flint, Genesee, and every other Job Corps center across the country had to send students home, a lot of students said, well, you know, I can't do this distance learning thing. This online learning thing isn't for me. I can't handle it. So they left the program. So when the students returned to Flint, Genesee, we returned 50 kids. 50. Right? Same thing in Detroit, same thing in Grand Rapids, same thing across this country. You returned less than a quarter of what you sent out the door, right? So in essence, when it comes to recruitment and enrolling students in the Job Corps program, you're literally starting from ground zero. So let's clear that part up, right? Department of Labor in March eliminated every Job Corps center's ability to run background checks. Remember I told y'all if you ain't got no background check, no clean background check, you can't come into the program, right? So what they did in March, which by the way is when the current Secretary of Labor took office, when she was sworn in March. Little coincidence there, okay. So, I'm sorry, Mr. Jones. So when they eliminated Job Corps Center's ability to run background checks, what they did was eliminated our ability to enroll without saying that they were stopping enrollment, right? Operators went to the regional offices and the national offices and said, well, look, can we go back to what we used to do back in the day? Back in the day, we just used to run our own background checks. Can we just go back to running our own background checks? They were told, no, you cannot. You have to wait for us to decide to lift the ban on background checks. And because of that, every Job Corps Center's enrollment continued to decline. Why? Because every week, students are supposed to be coming in, but if I ain't got no background checks ran on these kids, I can't bring them in, right? So where I used to be able to bring in 10 kids a week, now I'm bringing in 2. But on the other side of that, I still got students that are completing their trades and getting jobs and going to work, so I can't hold those kids. So I don't have anybody coming in the front door, but I'm still sending kids out the back door, right? So let's get that part together. Now, the other part we're going to get together is no one on this panel, nor our campus director, had information that this was coming. Our campus director got a phone call on Thursday afternoon, after 2 o'clock, right, that said, FYI, be on the lookout because a stop work order is supposed to be coming, right? He texted me and said, come to my office right now. And she was already there to tell us about this. By 2:38, Fox News had already posted an article about it online. She got a message from a family member about the Fox News article and went to our campus director and shared the information. I leave every day to go pick my grandson up. By the time I got back, it was a mandatory staff meeting because he wanted to try to get ahead of what Fox News had already put out there. Right? Did people know? I'm sure people did. Did people at Flint, Genesee know? I don't believe they did. I see a whole bunch of questions back this way.
So as we try to move forward, and tomorrow being Monday, we have a lot of people with vans, a lot of people with large vehicles, a lot of people that, as you see the jobs that are scrolling, that are ready to receive these people. How do we connect? Right now what the issue is there's resource, there's kids. How do we connect the kids to the resource so that if we got to run vans to get to jobs, how do we do that?
Hello, again, Delrico Lloyd, Chairman of the Genesee County Commission. I'm here because there's no cameras here. My brother was putting something together, bringing people together, and so I came to be present to hear, but also to support, so that's why I'm here. Couple things, the Biden administration and what the Department of Labor put out. They can put out whatever they want to put out. The reality is the Trump administration is in the seat. There's a Republican-led legislatures, and anything they want to do with their budgets, they can make the adjustments if they want to do it. So I just want to be clear because there's a whole, hold on one second. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, now 1 second. So here it is. Anybody who's sitting in whatever governmental seat that has the purse strings of any budget with a majority vote can make any adjustments they want to make. So I want to just be very, very clear. And I've been on the phone with our congressperson, certainly our U.S. Senator has been Slotkin, Alyssa Slotkin has been on calls. I've been on text threads. I've been on calls with our senators, our state reps, the mayor's on the thread, congressional leaders. I talked to the congresswoman yesterday, so I'm giving you direct information about what folks are thinking and what folks are saying that they're looking to do, all right? So again, Biden administration, Joe Biden left the White House in January, he's gone. A new House took over, new senators took over. Regardless of what budget was put in place, those that have legislative authority can make any adjustments to any budget they want to and make the adjustments. So I want to be clear, this isn't a Biden administration. I don't care what they put out. That's not true. He's not the president. Will you let me conclude, please? I appreciate you. And then we can talk. Yes, ma'am. And then we can talk just after, because I love to hear more about your perspective and the origins of it, okay? And so I just want to be clear about that because, again, there's a Republican in the White House, there's a Republican majority. They're well aware of this federal program and the impacts that this is having. How we know that they are aware? Because our Democratic legislators, and I'm not the guy that run around and talk partisan politics. I'm the guy that has a board in Genesee County for the first time that has a Democrat as a chair and a Republican who I nominated as my vice chair. So I'm doing the work of reaching across the aisle and working with Dems and Republicans. Amen. Okay, so this isn't partisan rhetoric here. This is making sure that we have accurate information about where we are. Because the truth is, Joe Biden, y'all just heard about his cancer, and everybody's praying for him and that kind of thing. He's retired and doing whatever he's doing. He has no authority to make any adjustments, but the folks in position can. So that's the first piece. The second piece that I wanted to clear up is that, and I know that when it comes to property ownership and stuff, property goes back and forth, but I called our chief of staff and then Josh Freeman, and then I got online and looked it up myself. The property that Job Corps sits on is owned by Job Corps. So it's not owned by the city of Flint, it's not owned by Genesee County. The deed on the property lookup for Genesee County and the city of Flint says Job Corps. So probably when they prior to them building that site and that kind of thing, they probably acquired the property that is and then built it and so on and so forth. Then you have your contract. So I just want to clear that up. We have no jurisdiction as it relates to the actual property, the lease agreement, whoever the business agents and that kind of stuff. So I thought that was something that you would want to know. The other thing that I wanted to speak through just quickly is, you know, there's no blame to be put on this staff. There's no blame. This is not your fault. It's not your fault. At the end of the day, this is not a local program. It's a federal program. And we know that when it's a federal program, there's a ton of people in the hierarchy structure that starts probably in Washington, D.C., right? And then everybody in that office, and then the regional this and the regional that. And then by the time you all get down to your organization, you have a leader, Daniel Shepard, who I just spoke to before I got here, okay? Daniel Shepard is the person, if there was challenges or something that we should be communicating on, I believe it was his, and I'm not beating him up because we need to partner and collaborate. What I am saying is you had a leader, and some of you probably would have been disciplined if you were building your own kingdom within Job Corps and building your own coalition. So no fault. God bless y'all. Thank y'all for being here today. All right? So the other thing I wanted to say as we turn the corner is I want to confirm some information. Is this live? This isn't on Facebook, is it? It is.
Is this live?
Okay, okay.
Do we need to cut the live? Because we can.
No, I'll just ask some confirming questions, okay? I'll modify my tone a bit. I just got off the phone with the center director because I wanted to hear firsthand.
Cut the live.